Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. You may have noticed that I have been going through Profil's series of Russian operas with historical recordings from the Bolshoi that they've been getting their hands on and issuing. And we've done Mussorgsky and Rimsky-Korsakov and Tchaikovsky. It's really quite a series. And now we have Rachmaninoff. And this is, in some ways, the most extraordinary of all of them because you have the complete operas, cantatas, and fragments, and they managed to put together 15 CDs, which is unbelievable because most complete Rachmaninoff editions basically barely have 15 CDs. Well, 20-something, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a tremendous amount of music that lots of people don't know and don't heard of, and some of the things in here are very, very surprising. I must confess, they have me totally baffled. But let's just go through it, and I'll tell you what it is because you have to sort of know what's going on here. The dates of these performances are 1929 through 1963, but most of them date from the 50s. They're live recordings from the late 40s, early to mid 50s, and there is a note. There is an Anmerkung. The Anmerkung says that the audio material from which we prepared these CDs was made from a technically very poor recording. I mean, it's actually plural, because as we see, it's aus technisch sehr schlechten Originalaufnahmen. That's Namen, plural, recordings that we obtained from the private collection of Andrei Hotiev. As these recordings are, in many respects, unique sound documents, the label and its mastering studio has decided to restore these recordings to the extent that this was possible. That does not encourage me. And to make them available to a wider audience. Okay, so that's that. Now we know what they're working with. The fact of the matter is that the sound on these recordings, for the most part, you can tell that they're live broadcast air checks. That's what they are. It's really pretty clear. You can tell from the sound with the voices like right up front, like in the microphones of the orchestra somewhere else, elsewhere. And the audience noise is there. I mean, because Russian audiences are often very, very noisy, especially opera audience noises. The opera starts, everyone's still talking. It takes 5 minutes before they settle down. And then, if it's the winter, they all have the flu and they cough a lot. But it doesn't really matter. These are really some wonderful performances. And you can hear the voices. Now, if you're an opera or vocal music person, that is all you care about, as we all know. Opera people don't care about sonics. They don't care about horrible orchestral playing. They don't care about balance. They care about voices. They want to hear the voices. And if they can hear the voices, they're happy. The rest of us, well, we take a little bit more of a, I'd say, balanced viewpoint. But I got to say, I wasn't too disturbed by the sound on these discs. They really aren't too bad. There are some really bad ones. There are, but for the most part, it's just mono air check quality. I mean, and you know what that is, especially if you're an opera person. You know what that is. So let me just tell you who's doing the operas and what else we have in here, and some of the surprises are quite interesting. Okay, so we've got the three standard operas. We have Aleko, and you get two versions of Aleko. One is from 1951, and it's Golovanov, Nikolai Golovanov. Golovanov was a great opera conductor. He really was. He was out of his mind as an orchestral conductor. He was famous for doing Liszt tone poems and Scriabin things and making them sound like interesting. I mean, because he was just crazy. And his opera, performances are a little bit more considerate of the soloist, so they don't go completely amok, but they're still incredibly spontaneous and intense. He was marvelous that way. And the cast is Ivan Petrov, born Hans Krause, we find out, and Alexander Ognivtsev, and Anatoly Orfyonov, and Nina Pokrovskaya, and Bronislava Zlatogorova. That's the cast. Those of you who know your Russian singers will recognize some of these names. Those of you who do not will not, and it doesn't make any difference because they're really good singers for the most part. And then we get another Aleko from 1953, conducted by Nikolai Rabinovich with the St. Petersburg Philharmonic. This was obviously a concert performance. And it was broadcast at some point, I guess. And it's with Alexander Ognivtsev, Mark Risen, Mark Reisen's famous, for, as you know, for doing Shostakovich stuff like the 14th Symphony and Babi Yar and whatnot. And Anatoly Orfyonov and Nina Petrovskaya. So you get two Alekos, and then we get the Miserly Knight. And that's, there's like no women in this opera, I realize. It's all guys. This is with the Moscow Philharmonic under Vasily Nebelson. And you get, Vladimir Zakharov and Vladislav Radzievsky and Oleg Daletsky and Nikolai Zakharov and Vadim Ruslanov. Always, it's so much easier if they would just leave it in Cyrillic. Because Russian's a very phonetic language. And, you read what the letters are, but when you put them in Roman characters, it gets somehow more tongue-twistery. And then we have Francesca da Rimini. It's really a pretty opera, this Francesca da Rimini. And the end, when they get sent to hell, is really a hoot. You've got the chorus of, suffering spirits all screaming and shrieking. And, it's marvelous. Anyway, so this one is, who's doing this one? Does it even tell us? This is from 56, live. In Moscow. Oh, yes, it's the Bolshoi with Alexander Melik-Pesheyev, another wonderful conductor, a very elegant, aristocratic conductor. He conducted one of those Boris Godunovs that Vishnevskaya is on. And he's just a tremendous conductor. He really was. And we have Victor Nechipalo and Dina Dayan and Andrei Sokolov and Yuri Dementiev, yeah, that's his name, Dementiev, and Vitaly Vlasov. So that's from that one, from 56. And then on CD5, we have a disc of opera fragments, or excerpts, actually, by various people. We don't have to go into the details. And let's see, there's one actually kind of interesting fragment that's with Pimen's monologue from an opera project based on Boris Godunov. With the Moscow Symphony Orchestra under Israel Guzman from 1955. So that's kind of cool. There's some little things here that you never even knew existed. You're not going to find them anywhere else. So you might as well get them. And then we have, as a bonus from 1929, Fyodor Chaliapin singing with the orchestra under Lawrence Collingwood doing At the Gypsy Camp is Sleeping. Okay, whatever. From Aleko. And then we get songs, zillions of songs. I'm just going through the zillions of songs, all the songs you could possibly ask for. And they're actually quite interesting because you have every Russian singer who ever existed between about 1940, 47 or so and the mid-1950s. And I'm very curious to look and see if these are the same every Russian singer you've ever heard of, whoever did a Rachmaninoff song in the Melodia Complete Rachmaninoff Edition review forthcoming, because I will take a look and compare and see if they're sharing material. That would be interesting to know. But, one of the real sort of cute little things in here that's rather surprising is that there is a bonus. And the bonus, well, it's not on the bonus, but it's not that bonus. But you even get two songs stuffed in here. Wait a minute, let me find them. I know that they're here. Oh, yeah, they're there. You get two songs sung by Jussi Björling. I mean, of all people. So, they pull stuff from wherever they can pull it from. And, good for them. As long as they're not going to get in trouble for it. It's all here. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Next, let's see, what else have we got here? I was just very surprised going through this list of names to see who was handling all this stuff. And there he is, Jussi Björling with the Stockholm Concert Association Orchestra under Nils Gravilius, singing Lilac and In the Silence of the Night. I mean, there's a whole disc of orchestral songs, instrumental arrangements of songs. It's great fun. And that's two of the ones that Björling does. And then we've got Sacred Choral Concerto, O Mother of God Vigilantly Praying, which is only about, 6 minutes long. And it has this rather unfortunately translated into English title that says, Like Bow Belly Mater. I think that's a mistake. I don't know what Like Bow Belly Mater means. Do you? In Russian, it's Yakajebo Jivola Mater, or Života, pardon me. So, I mean, that does not mean like Bo Belly Mater. I mean, I'm sure. Anyway, you get the spring cantata, done by two different people with Golovanov from 47, and then the three Russian songs from 45 with Golovanov. And then you get that stuff all over again with Alexander Gok from 1958 and 1957. I mean, it's really very, very generous. They're just like grabbing everything they can and stuffing it in here to make 15 CDs worth of stuff. Then we have the bells, two versions of the bells. You have the classic Kondrashin, which everyone has to have, and if you can't find it, well, it's in here. And you also get, let's see, it was dedicated to Mengelberg and the Concerto. No kidding. From 1948, a performance with Konstantin Simeonov and a bunch of like Russian singers doing the bells with the USSR Symphony Orchestra. So that's rather cool. And then you get the Kondrashin. Then you get the ballet projects. CD 13, ballet project number 1 was the Paganini Rhapsody. And here you get Rojdestvensky conducting Victor Murzhanov piano. It's an exciting performance, rather interesting, from 1959, live in Moscow. Who knew, right? And then you get the symphonic dances dedicated to Eugene Ormandy with the Philly and Eugene Ormandy. This is their 1960 studio recording from Sony. I guess it was licensed or perhaps not. I have no idea. And then finally on CDs 14 and 15, you get, believe it or not, the Rachmaninoff piano concertos, because you have to. I mean, no one's going to buy it unless it is the Rachmaninoff piano concertos. So here they are. Of course, you have the Paganini Rhapsody already. So you get them just because. It has nothing to do with the rest of it. And they're fairly honest about it. There's a bonus, piano concertos. I love it. I just love it. The piano concerto number 1 is with Richter and Sanderling. These are all well known. Number 2 is Richter and Sanderling. Number 3 is Gilels and Clutens. Yeah, Clutens, Clutens. Someone else tried to correct my pronunciation of that name. By the way, don't waste my time. Don't bother. I asked my French friend. I called my friend Christophe Huss up in Montreal. I said, how do you pronounce it? Let me just, I've been saying Cluitans or Cluitans, something like that, Cluitans. And he says to me, yeah, it's Cluitans. That's the way we do it. That's all I care about. Thank you. Next question. And then number 4 is with Yakov Zak and Kondrashin with the Moscow Philharmonic. Now, there's a performance you probably don't know. So there you go. It's on Profil. It's really kind of interesting. And if you don't know the Rachmaninoff operas, of course, you should have the Yarvi box with the 3 that really good sound with, but it's a collector's item. It's a true collector's item, and it's very, very generously assembled to give you as much stuff as they could possibly put their hands on and to justify you adding it to your collection. So I did, and I'm glad I did. Will I listen to it every day? No. Will I be listening to it even frequently? Probably not, except for, the things we all know, like the bells and, whatnot. But it's really very cool. It's nicely packaged. The only thing I don't like is that the CDs are in those sleeves, those envelopes with the sticky stuff. I mean, just don't seal them. Just don't have sticky goop on them, because the sticky goop gets on everything and messes up your discs. I mean, these are very carefully sealed, I might add. I didn't have goop on any of my CDs, but taking them out and putting them back, you got to be careful that they don't get goopicized. It's like, ugh. Anyway, there you go. Rachmaninoff operas, fragments, piano concertos, songs, other things. I mean, just stuff. Stuff that you may not even know Rachmaninoff did. Lots of fun. Truly a lot of fun. So keep on listening, folks. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.